Can you still hear the cheerful clatter of a nickel dropping, followed by that magical whir as the jukebox spun your favorite record to life? Just one simple push of a button, and suddenly the room was filled with the unmistakable sound of rock and roll echoing through diners and drive-ins across America. Jukeboxes in the 1950s were more than illuminated machines. They were the heartbeats of hometown hangouts, glowing in neon pinks and blues, inviting everyone to gather round. With their chrome-plated edges gleaming and glass domes gleaming under the soft haze of cigarette smoke, they turned every corner booth into a stage and every milkshake into a memory. For teenagers in poodle skirts and Letterman jackets, these jukeboxes meant freedom, rhythm, and a portal to the latest hits, long before anyone could imagine streaming music at home. Do you recall the thrill of picking that one? Special song, hoping someone across the room would listen too? Let's journey back to the golden age of jukeboxes and rediscover what made these icons so unforgettable. If you walked into a corner diner any time during the 1950s, you'd instantly be transported by a burst of sound and color, courtesy of the era's most beloved marvel, the jukebox. But before these glowing icons claimed their rightful place amid checkered tile floors, spinning stools, and Formica tabletops, their story began decades earlier, tracing a path through the changing rhythms of American society. Let's rewind the record and look back at how the jukebox rose from a simple coin-operated phonograph to a cultural fixture that perfectly captured the spirit of the 1950s. The very first coin-operated music player appeared in San Francisco in 1889, an invention by Louis Glass and William S. Arnold called the nickel-in-the-slot phonograph. Housed in a sturdy oak cabinet, this early marvel looked more like a bank vault than the Technicolor dream machines we remember. It played just one cylinder record at a time, requiring listeners to huddle close and listen through rubber tubes, almost like eavesdropping on a secret concert. Isn't it funny to think that what began as a novelty would, decades later, become a centerpiece of bustling diners and soda shops? Through the 1920s and 30s, as radio captured imaginations and records became cheaper, jukeboxes quietly evolved alongside American tastes. Coin-operated record players slowly grew sleeker and more reliable. The term jukebox itself gained popularity in the 1940s, drawn from the slang juke, meaning dance or rowdy, often associated with the lively juke joints of the South. But it was in the aftermath of World War II that the jukebox truly found its stride. Powered by advances in record technology and a nation eager for new thrills, manufacturers like Wurlitzer, Seeburg, and Rockola began producing machines that didn't just play music, they put on a show. By the time the 1950s rolled in, America was ready to groove. A sense of optimism filled the air. The war was over, suburbs were expanding, and young people, the very first teenagers as we know the term, were searching for new ways to shape their own identity. Jukeboxes were there to answer the call, reflecting the swinging energy of a nation on the move. You might not believe this, but in 1948 the Seeburg Corporation released the M100A, the first jukebox capable of holding and automatically playing 100 different 45 RPM records. Before that, most machines played only 10 to 24 selections from bulky 78s. Suddenly patrons had access to a musical library wider than anyone had imagined, all for a handful of coins. Can you remember how thrilling it was to face that lit-up song list, trying to decide which tune would be the soundtrack to that moment? What truly set the 1950s apart wasn't just the technology, but the way jukeboxes became woven into the fabric of daily life. Chocolate malts and cherry cokes tasted a little sweeter when your favorite Elvis, Buddy Holly, or Patti Page track came on. Nearly every diner, bowling alley, bar, or roller rink prominently featured a neon-lit jukebox, almost like a badge of honor. It showed you were keeping up with the times and welcomed everyone to enjoy. In fact, statistics from the era show there were nearly 750,000 jukeboxes scattered across the country by the mid-1950s, spinning more than 10 million records every day. That's a lot of music, and an even greater number of shared memories. But jukeboxes also carried a deeper meaning, reflecting the broader changes shaping America. They democratized the music experience. No need to attend a pricey concert or have a fancy record player at home. You simply needed a few coins and a sense of anticipation, knowing that your chosen song was about to come alive, echoing through the room and bringing strangers together, if only for 3 minutes. Did you ever feel that sense of togetherness? Shoulder to shoulder with friends and even total strangers, waiting for your tune to queue up? Sometimes it seemed like all the world's problems could wait while the music played. Of course, the design of these machines was every bit as important as the music they spun. Companies competed to outdo each other with bold, futuristic designs that practically shouted, "Come over and listen." The famous bubble tubes of Wurlitzer, the polished chrome and rainbow-lit domes of Rock-Ola, and the space-age styling of Seeburg each told a story about the era's dreams and aspirations. Did you know that many of these jukeboxes were inspired by the shapes of cars and spaceships, reflecting the nation's fascination with innovation and the race to the stars? The jukebox wasn't just background noise, it was a showstopper in itself, an inviting beacon at a time when public places thrived on a sense of togetherness. The jukebox era was also powered by the immense popularity of the single, those iconic 45 RPM records that were affordable, portable, and perfect for a quick spin. The mass production of these records, combined with clever mechanical engineering, meant jukeboxes were always stocked with the latest hits. Here's a fun fact. Record companies actually rushed new songs to jukebox distributors before they hit radio waves, knowing that the first test of a song's popularity was the din of coins in the local diner's jukebox. Imagine being one of the lucky few to play a soon-to-be hit song before anyone else had even heard of it. As jukeboxes moved out of the urban jazz clubs and into the heartland's burger joints, they traced the movement of American popular music itself. Country and western, doo-wop, early rock and roll, and soulful crooners all found a place in these machines. Which genre always grabbed your ear first? The smooth harmonies of the Platters or the toe-tapping energy of Little Richard? Each button held a possibility, a mood, and a memory. It's hard to overstate the magic these machines held. For business owners, a jukebox was a silent partner, drawing crowds and keeping the soda fountains flowing. For musicians, having your song featured on a jukebox could mean the difference between obscurity and stardom. Roy Orbison, for instance, once recalled that it was a jukebox spinning Only the Lonely in a West Texas cafe that changed his career forever. Can you picture the scene? A handful of strangers, pausing over their burgers, struck silent for just a moment as a voice filled the air. And something new was born. As we set the stage for the rich tapestry of jukebox innovation, social impact, and unforgettable design that defined the 1950s, it's clear that these icons were more than machines. They were mirrors for our shared hopes and aspirations. But how did the jukebox, starting as a strictly mechanical marvel, evolve to showcase the rich sounds, bright lights, and magnetic allure that made it such a symbol of its time? Hold tight, because in the next part, we'll dive into the astonishing technological leaps from spinning records to bubbling lights that transformed jukeboxes into the masterpieces we remember so fondly. As we come to the end of our journey through the world of 1950s jukeboxes, it's clear that these vibrant icons were far more than just music machines. They were the magic makers of their era, brightly lit gateways into the sounds that defined our youth, inviting us to pick a favorite tune and, for a few moments, let the rhythm carry us away. We've retraced the jukebox's humble beginnings as a coin-operated phonograph, watched its transformation into a centerpiece of diners and soda shops, and reminisced about the days when a glowing jukebox symbolized freedom, friendship, and a little taste of the modern world to come. Whether it was the flash of chrome, the warm hum of bubbling lights, or the promise of hearing Elvis or Brenda Lee with friends, jukeboxes encapsulated a unique ritual, gathering together, poring over song lists, and finding connection in shared melodies. These machines helped usher in the era of the teenager, fueling a whole generation's desire to carve out their own culture, sound, and style. Family-owned malt shops, bustling bowling alleys, and late-night diners all shared a heartbeat as long as the jukebox kept playing, becoming places where memories were spun as reliably as the records themselves. Looking back, there's something deeply comforting and a bit wistful about remembering a time when the simple act of choosing a song could brighten your day or spark a new friendship across a crowded room. Jukeboxes didn't just reflect our musical tastes, they captured the dreams, optimism, and energy of post-war America. They taught us how a handful of coins and a favorite melody could create a sense of belonging, reminding us that for every memory of young love, teenage rebellion, idle afternoons, or Saturday night get-togethers, there was probably a jukebox glowing in the background. Even as today's music lives mostly in the cloud and on our smartphones, the legacy of the 1950s jukebox endures. It stands as a symbol of simpler pleasures and the unspoken bond formed whenever a song started spinning, inviting everyone to sing along or just sit back and listen together. Do you ever find yourself longing for that time when music felt like a shared experience rather than something you just listened to on headphones? Now, we'd love to hear your story. What jukebox song instantly takes you back to those golden days? Was it a rock and roll hit, a soulful ballad, or maybe a tune you played over and over just to catch a certain someone's eye? Share your favorite jukebox memory in the comments below. We're eager to read about the songs, places, and moments that made your experiences unforgettable. If you enjoyed this nostalgic look back, please remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more trips down memory lane. And if you know someone who would love this stroll through jukebox history, pass it along and make their day a little brighter too. There's so much more to explore together, so stay tuned for our next journey into the sights and sounds that shaped our lives. Until then, may the spirit of the jukebox keep your favorite tunes playing and your fondest memories spinning, just like the golden records of the past, always ready to lift your soul and light up the room.